Now let's talk about the offshore tax exemption. Really, let's talk about it because this is really common theme in Hong Kong is the offshore tax exemption. We hear a lot of that. You will hear a lot of things, or you will read a lot of things on Google, etc., or on my competitor's website. Oh, Hong Kong is 0% tax. Well, this is not true. Okay, Hong Kong, as you have seen before, is 16.5% tax on corporate tax. Now, what's happening is there is something called the offshore tax exemption, where you can ask Hong Kong to not pay tax in Hong Kong, so it's to get an exemption. If your profit are not generated in Hong Kong, so this is what we call the territorial basis for profit tax. Now, you have to prove it. You have to prove that you have no profit, no operations whatsoever in Hong Kong. So no contract signed in Hong Kong, no staff here, no office, no stuff passing through Hong Kong, no suppliers in Hong Kong, no clients in Hong Kong, etc. So it's quite, you really have to show that Hong Kong has nothing basically. And basically what you are proving is that you have no substance in Hong Kong, which is quite okay for Hong Kong, but it leaves the door open to something really dangerous, because then other countries could argue that you have substance in their countries instead of Hong Kong, countries with less interesting tax rates, for example. So the question really there is what I'm just mentioning here. If you have no operations in Hong Kong, where are your operations and where are you paying tax? So this is one of the questions many people that claim the offshore tax exemption are not thinking of. They are like, okay, I just get 0% tax, but actually no, wait a minute. Where do you plan to pay your tax? Where are your operations? Because those people can get after you. So in the past, what people were doing, and Hong Kong has been a center of tax evasion for this reason in the last decades, is that people were coming here, opening the company, asking for the offshore tax exemption, not declaring anything anywhere in the world. As Hong Kong had a certain bank secrecy back then, nobody knew that you had an account here and you were running a company here, and then many people just got away with it. But that doesn't mean it's legal and it's the right way to do. Nowadays, as you know, because I mentioned it during the section on bank account, there's a new thing coming in Hong Kong that is called the Common Reporting Standards. And what is the Common Reporting Standards? Basically, 100 countries, basically most of the countries of the OECD, just US didn't sign it, but the country of OECD plus a bunch of other partners, about 100 people that agreed to exchange information automatically, bank informations. So what they will exchange is basically the name of the person, the bank account that he has, and the balance inside, and they will share that to the government. And who will share is not the government to government, it will be the banks to the governments. Okay, so basically if you have an account in HSBC with, I don't know, 300,000 US on it, HSB, and you are, I don't know, a resident of Italy, then HSBC will report you to Italy and say, look, we have somebody here that is a Italian resident and has 300,000 US dollar in the bank account. Now, it's not illegal to have a company in Hong Kong. It's not illegal to have a bank account in Hong Kong. But what is illegal is to not declaring it, and not paying your fair tax where you have to pay them. So you have to be really careful with that. Now, this has been a gray area for many years, but things are about to become really transparent. I never liked the offshore tax exemption. I never promote it to my clients. You can see on YouTube I have videos that date from already, I think, 3 years, where I'm telling people that, like, don't do the offshore tax exemption. Instead, go for an onshore strategy. So show that you have, do the opposite basically. Instead of saying I have nothing in Hong Kong, basically say that you have everything in Hong Kong, so that you pay your tax here and you are good to go. Okay, I prefer to pay 10 to 16.5% tax in Hong Kong than paying much more in another country. So that's what I think, is I onshore instead of offshore. I was saying that in the past, and now it's even more true that things become extremely transparent. There is almost no bank secrecy anymore. And yeah, it's a really dangerous strategy, because as I said before, you are proving in Hong Kong that you have no substance. So you are making the life of the taxman in your country of residence really easy. They don't have to prove you have no substance there anymore because you already did it. They just have to ask you, where is your substance then? And if you live there, you're a director of the company, and the management and control is in the country, then it will be really easy for them to go after you. Well, I won't give too many tax talks here, but you can talk to a tax advice in your own country and understand the ins and outs. Now, what are the conditions to ask for the offshore tax exemption? Because that's the other thing. People think that it's they just ask for it and they get it, but it's not that easy. They still have to prove it to Hong Kong that they have no substance. So the precondition for liability to profit tax under the Inland Revenue Department ordinance, a person is chargeable to profit tax under the following conditions. He carries a trade, professions, or business in Hong Kong. The trade, professions, or business derives profit, and the profit arise in or are derived from Hong Kong. The first two conditions are straightforward. So this is the Hong Kong government that put that on their website. I took these directly from the Inland Revenue Department. The first two conditions are straightforward. Some elaboration is necessary for the third. Let us have a brief look at the basic principle for determining the source of profit. Okay, so this is basically from the Hong Kong government website. I went there and took this paragraph. So you can see that even themselves, they are telling you that it won't be that easy to claim the offshore tax exemption. You know, you will have to prove it. So this, you can take this as a reference. You can check this source if you want more information. So basically, it's not straightforward. You have to prove it. The other thing is, if you don't pay tax in Hong Kong, then where do you plan to pay them? So this gets back to the first reflection that I had before this slide. And if you don't know, what you are doing here is that you let the door open to any countries in which you have tied, maybe where you sell, maybe where you live, to actually get back to you, maybe where you are from, and actually ask you to pay tax there.